So here's the question. As a real estate investor, how do you build a business that you're excited to show up to every day, while you constantly grow your stream of passive income that you and your family can depend on for life, without having to leave your computer or even live somewhere that houses are affordable? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Welcome to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast with your host, Brian Elwood.
What's up, everybody? Brian Elwood here. Welcome back to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast. Guys, if you have not gotten your free copy of my new book, then you're leaving money on the table. Unless you already have one or more rock star acquisition managers in your real estate business, then you're leaving money on the table. You need to check this book out. Basically, the book is called Fire Yourself, and I talk about how we made the most powerful and impactful hire to date in our company, the acquisition manager. And I talk about how whether you are experienced or just getting started, this is the very first hire you need to make, and there's actually no reason why you can't make it right away, day one of starting your business. You know, as long as you have the mindset and the know-how to do it. And the book basically tells you everything you need to do to make this hire. It is 70 pages of actionable content. It's just bam, 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 just hard hitting, like all the strategic stuff you need to do to make this real. There's not very much fluff at all in this book. So you're immediately going to have to take a lot of action. So if you're not an action taker, the book's going to frustrate you. If you are, and you want to do these things, take these steps to make this very important hire, go to www.fireyourself.net. That's fireyourself.net. Get your free copy of this book. I tell you everything that we did to take our business from probably around 300 grand a year in revenue to over 7 figures a year for 4 years straight. It all started and depends upon this one crucial hire. If I was going to start all over again, this is the very first hire I would make, and I would do it on day one. And I explain why in the book, fireyourself.net. So on today's episode, I want to talk to you about probably the most underutilized marketing asset or resource there is out there for getting deals. You know, you hear so much about direct mail and pay-per-click and all this stuff, and what we don't often hear when we're getting advice is to first build out all of your channels for getting free leads. Because, I mean, direct mail and pay-per-click, you're paying $100, $200, $300 a lead sometimes, you know, especially in a market where it's very competitive, which is a ton to pay for one lead compared to what people pay in the digital world when they're paying like $1. But when you build out systems to generate free leads or very cheap leads, what it does is it balances out the cost of those expensive leads. Because I don't care how big or small your business is, your numbers have to work. You have to be at a certain customer acquisition cost. If it costs you 10 grand in marketing to acquire a customer and you only make 7 grand every time you acquire one, is that good? Would you continue to execute that business model? Of course not. And so knowing what your cost per lead is, and then customer acquisition cost, which is basically how many leads does it take to get a sale, and then what's your average deal size, and then comparing that against just one another, that's a ratio that you've got to watch. And if you're in that 3-to-1, 4-to-1 range, where let's say it's costing you $3,000 to get a customer and you're making $9,000 to $12,000 or more on that customer, that's a healthy range. That's where you want to be. Customer acquisition cost to the lifetime value of the customer. It's a ratio you have to track even if you're just getting started. So this episode is all about how to make sure to balance that out by getting cheap or free leads. And I'll just cut to the chase. Real estate wholesalers are one of the best possible assets you've got in your investing career, because they are basically going out and doing all the marketing, talking to sellers, spending their own money on direct mail. They are your competition, essentially, when you're doing direct mail. But then they turn around and bring a signed contract to you. And think about what that's worth. In our business right now, it's taking us probably about 30 leads to get a deal. And we're paying, I don't know, probably at least a couple $100 a lead. It's gotten better lately, but call it $100 a lead. So that's $3,000 at 30 leads that we're spending to get one deal. And when a wholesaler brings you a signed contract that you want, where it's actually a good contract, they're essentially bringing you 30 leads, all synthesized down into one that they've got under contract, so they have control of it. It's perfect. They're saving you $3,000 in marketing and all the time and paying people and going through those 30 leads to find the good one. They already found it. So you've got to set up a system to build your wholesaler network and to communicate with them and make them absolutely love you, get on their good side, etc. And it takes a little bit of work, but you have to do that. And I understand some of you are thinking, well, wholesalers always bring crappy deals to the table, and that's true. So you have to have a system for handling the stuff that they present to you. You can't be on the phone with them for an hour every single time they get something under contract, right? You got to just make an offer on it and move on. But step one is to build your network. And you really just do that by posting Craigslist ads, stating that you're looking to connect with wholesalers, you're looking for deals. Your RIN meeting or RIA group or whatever you call it in your market is a great way to find wholesalers. If your market has a Facebook page or 2 or 3 Facebook pages, I actually saw a post the other day on ours where somebody said, hey, I'm looking for all the wholesalers, post your name and your email in the comments. And there was probably 25 wholesalers that commented on that one post in the RIA group for our market, leaving their emails. I mean, it was like a list that you could just grab and start marketing to. Hey, I'm a buyer, and that's exactly what you need to do, is figure out how to get in touch with these guys and gals, get their email addresses and their phone numbers, and then set up a system to reach out to them regularly. You could have your marketing manager just email them or call them, have your sales guy go through the list. They should always get emailed and or phone calls once a week at a minimum. And then, beyond that, if you're building the list, you're communicating with them, they're going to be sending stuff your way, whether it's directly to you or you're being put on some kind of a list where you get their email blast to everyone else. Is you've got to make offers on everything that they send out, and that's really going to get their attention. They're going to be like, man, this guy is a player. He's serious. He will buy stuff. His offers might not be quite as high as I would like, but I know that he's always willing to look at a deal and make an offer. And so that's another huge mistake that a lot of investors make that I'll talk about in a lot of future episodes and training. So you got to offer on everything. You got to put every deal that's out there, from your own marketing, wholesalers, on the MLS, all into a funnel, basically, where it gets treated the same way every time. It gets analyzed for all the different criteria you need to check out on it, and then at the end you spit out an offer, put it in a letter of intent, and get it to them. Bottom line. And so if you build this system, you could easily expect to get another, call it 10 deals a year from wholesalers in your market. And what would that do to your bottom line? Let's say you make $20,000 on each one, that's $200,000. And then you're also saving $3,000 in marketing. So that's another $30,000 in your pocket, $230,000. And not to even to factor in all the time that you've saved by not having to market for those deals and analyze all the other 29 leads out of the 30 that were not the deal, et cetera, et cetera. So bottom line, guys, one of the first things you need to do is build out this network. There's really no point in just blowing up your market with all the traditional paid channels like direct mail if you're not already tapping into this extremely valuable resource. So build out your wholesaler network, guys. It will serve you well. Thank you guys for listening, and check out fireyourself.net to get your copy of my free book on how to hire your first acquisition manager. You have to do this step if you want to take your business to 7 figures. Fireyourself.net. See you guys next time. Peace.
Want more? Get your free copy of Brian's book that is changing real estate businesses everywhere. Just go to www.fireyourself.net. Also, register for your free virtual real estate investing online masterclass at virtualinvestingclass.com.